Hello fellow Star Wars fans and welcome to the channel. This is my look at the comics that came out for the week of November 24th. Yes, right before American Thanksgiving. I'm hoping everybody had a great Thanksgiving, enjoyed their time with their families and their friends. So getting into it, this was a huge week for Star Wars comics because we had not two, not three, but four Star Wars comics, two from Marvel, two from IDW. So let's start off with a very festive one from Marvel. And this is a one-shot called Star Wars Life Day. It's got a bunch of writers and different kind of artists on this because there's many little stories in here, but the main story written by Kevin Scott sets up Han Solo and Chewbacca after the events of Return of the Jedi. At this point, their Millennium Falcon has been stolen by Tucanes, so they do not have that ship. So they get a call from their buddies over on Batu to go hang out for Life Day, and he says, hey, why not? Turns out that when they get there, Chewie and a bunch of the inhabitants of Black Spire Outpost are taken by gunpoint by Kanja Club. So it really is up to Han Solo to rescue his buddy in need. And of course, Oga from Oga's Cantina is able to help Han Solo. And throughout the telling of this story, there's little flashback sequences to Han Solo and Chewie. In most of those cases, exempt from that would be the thing with Barry Yaga, the little High Republic story there with Nibba Sek. So there's all these like little intermingling stories that kind of flesh out more of what Life Day is about. And that's pretty neat because as a one shot, it's able to give us a glimpse from all the way back to the High Republic to all the way to some more current stories that are told, you know, with Trandoshans and Wookiees and that whole rivalry and what's going on with just what's happening on Kashyyyk. So a lot of cool stuff to be had in this issue. There's a little bit of a Drengir tease as well at the end of this, which was interesting. And just seeing every story kind of meld together is a lot of fun with this one. Next up for Marvel, we have Trail of Shadows issue number 2. I'm really loving the dig of this noir High Republic story. We have different characters that we haven't seen before that are Emerick as well as Sian Holt. And they are two characters that have a collision path that brings them together in this issue. Remember, the last issue we had Emerick discovering this Nile hideout. Then we have Sian, who her partner gets killed by this very large Tarnab creature. And now Chancellor Lina So, who we get to see for the first time in the comics, which is really cool, has brought both of these crack shot really great detectives in their own rights together to crack this mystery of what the heck happened to the characters back in Rising Storm when, you know, Loden Greatstorm turned to stone, and what happens with this leveler creature. That's what they're trying to find out in this issue. So this issue really gets into this relationship that they're going to have to build by trusting one another. One is a Jedi, one is just a private eye. So they're trying to, you know, have their differences kind of set aside to work together. And it really has an awesome kind of Batman Detective Comics vibe when they go into this one room, this apartment where somebody was killed and they try to investigate what is happening. I really did enjoy that. Seeing just the way that this parallel opening is, where both of these characters are doing their own thing and eventually they come together. I think the dialogue is really, really good when it comes to these comics here. And moving over to IDW, we have Star Wars Adventures Annual 2021. And in comic fashion, our cover does not represent what actually is happening in this issue. There is no Jackson. Suffice to say, he's been in a lot of the annuals going forward. Kevin Scott loves this character, is the one that brought him to life, the writer that is writing this story. But no, this one is called the Hoojib Menace. The Hoojibs were plucked from Legends by Kevin Scott and put in a canon in this issue. So basically what has happened, Han Solo and Chewbacca, they got to make some money. Jabba's kind of pulling their strings to be like, you got to give me money or you're going to be in debt, basically. So they find out about these very mystical creatures that could be part of his menagerie or whatever it's called, menagerie for Jabba's different pets besides the Rancor. So they go and they find these things called Hoojibs, which apparently become, or to their knowledge, is that these are things that are actually having a telepathic ability. So it's really interesting that these things are sentient creatures. You think they're just rabbits in the Star Wars universe, but no, they actually can talk to you through your mind. So that was really fun seeing that happen there. And this one Hoojib is telling Han Solo about, hey, you got to go back to my planet and rescue my friends because we're all being enslaved. So that is what happens. Chewie has a heart of gold and convinces Han Solo begrudgingly, Han Solo agrees to be like, okay, I will go and help save your friend. So that whole story is just simply about that. We also have a backup story called The Coin, which revolves around Cloud City. Bespin, Baron Administrator Lando Calrissian himself, is kind of fresh in the role, and we see these 3 kids running through the streets because they have this coin that is very valuable. So if they sell this to this black market guy, they'll make a ton of money. But then they figure out that, Lando figures out where they are, sends these droids in his likeness to be like, hey, I need this coin because I'm actually saving you guys. This coin will, go toward the Grand Slicer, who will then kind of mess up the records for Bespin so that Empire can never find us here. A little foreshadowing. We know what happens. They find Bespin anyway, but this is kind of buying, Lando time for the Empire to kind of look past Bespin as any kind of way of profit. So long story short, these kids are running all through the different battles of Cloud City and all this fun stuff, and they're jumping off buildings, landing on cloud cars and everything else. And they decide, you know what, maybe we should give it to Lando, and they do give it to Lando, and it's nice, happy ending there. And one final comic to talk about this week. We have Star Wars Adventures issue number 12. So as always, we have 2 stories in this as well. We have Squad Goals Part 2, where we have this really annoying character named Ibti, who is just putting herself and her comrades in risk by just being very just belligerent and crazy. And well, she was grounded, and then she finds out that, she can find out the communications that the Empire is setting up a trap for Rogue Squadron. By the way, this is between the events of A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. So she's able to just basically, she's so annoying. She punches Admiral Akbar. Like, I felt so bad. She just tackles Admiral Akbar and says, I'm getting on my ship and get out of here. I don't care if I'm grounded or not. Of course, it was up to her to kind of save the day, because the person that was one of the squadron mates was the one that actually betrayed Rogue Squadron. That's how they knew the Empire was able to get there. And they do detain this person. Luke Skywalker kind of scolds this person, Ibti, for like, hey, you shouldn't have just left and punched Akbar, but you saved us, so that's pretty cool there too. So it was cool seeing Rogue Squadron between part 1 and part 2, and it kind of burns the fact that, we had that Rogue Squadron movie planned, and now we might not get it, so maybe we'll get more Rogue Squadron stories like this in the future. We also have another story in here called Give and Take, and this is a Clone Wars story. You got Asajj Ventress going after this certain kind of device that is going to maybe power the Death Star reactor there, and she's going up against the Jedi, and they're fighting, and it's just a really kind of cool action-packed sort of issue here. It's a one and done. We have different things with Count Dooku involved with it as well. And you also have Ala Secura. Ala Secura is the Jedi. I love seeing more of Ala Secura. And she also is accompanied by QTKT, which is that droid from the 501st Legion, which a lot of people will know about, the story behind that. And one of the children that was, a part of the 501st. Her father was part of the 501st, and she had some version of cancer. She passed away in the 501st, and Lucasfilm kind of in her honor built this droid or something. I believe that's loosely how the story goes. So it's cool seeing that droid pop up in canon every once in a while in the name of the girl that passed away. So that was a pretty fun story as well. Not super deep, but again, just gives us a fun Jedi versus Asajj Ventress kind of story, and them jumping all over, and the artwork was great. I think the artwork all over for all 4 of these has been really, really good for this week. So that's gonna do it for this week's comics. Quite a few came out this week. What did you guys think about all these? Let me know in the comment section down below. For more on Star Wars comics and much more, you can go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and do go ahead and listen or watch my podcast, Outer Rim Transmission, a weekly Star Wars podcast. That is going to do it for me, Starved. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @StarRaptor.